am Benedict Cumberbatch. Did you know that Mike's Daily Podcast is completely independently created and produced? Did you know just about every podcast you listen to is part of a huge network? Or a corporation? Or it is simply lifted off of a radio station? I am so hot and so British, and I have this amazing smile. Did you know big-name podcast players like iTunes and Stitcher show only the podcasts on their front page of the people that pay for it? Yes, the ones that advertise. Or they show the ones that incorporate big names of people like me who have been on TV or on film. Please do what you can to support independent podcasters. Thank you. And now on with the independently produced Mike's Daily Podcast.
This show is clean, pretty much.
Mike's Daily Podcast.
Effizode 806. Hey, last show was 805, and I used to live in the 805 area code, so I didn't point that out, and I feel like an idiot. Today we hear an old interview I did over 12 years ago with a brand new Blake Shelton. He was brand new back then. It's Mike Matthews broadcasting from the last place on earth located somewhere in Podcaster Valley, California. We also hear today from Shelley Shuhart, Floyd the Floorman, and John Deere the engineer.
Mike's Daily Podcast.
And is Facebook being like a teenager that gets a hold of the parents' credit card? That news story will become clear.
Mike's Daily Podcast.
We'll talk about that in a little bit. And on the last show, Mike's Daily Podcast Players presented a really young person whose age was below 18. Because there's a bunch of celebrity YouTubers that have big-time audience goobers. Yes, they have a bunch of followers on YouTube, unlike myself. So we did a little tribute to them. It was heartfelt.
Mike's Daily Podcast.
And I am really being hit by memories before I go to bed at night, and it keeps me up for hours.
Mike's
It's so strange.
Daily
Memories come to me so
Podcast.
clearly here at my twilight of my... I hope I'm not in the twilight years. Dang it, 46? Come on. I'm halfway to the grave, but not... Please, look who just walked in.
Oh my god, he's a Shelley Shuhart gift shop supervisor. Oh my god, what does it feel like to be like that old?
To be middle-aged, you mean?
Yeah, Mike Matthews, that must feel like so weird.
It is odd. You realize you can't waste time anymore. You've got to get things done. You got to look at your health. You can't just eat like a whole bag of M&Ms anymore. You got to parcel them out between all the major holidays. That's what it's like, Shelley.
Oh my god, Mike Matthews, like, I just want to die right now.
You shouldn't, because you're young and you should enjoy life. Maybe go on a date with Ryan Gosling Jr.
He's not hot anymore.
Oh, I guess I've lost touch with the world because I'm old. Look who else just walked in. Oh, Mike, this is Floyd the Floorman! And this is John Deere the engineer. Mike, I think what Shelley's trying to tell you is that she is scared that she's going to lose you someday. No, Shelley, you're not going to lose me. Ever. I'll be right here in your heart.
Mike Matthews, you just tried to, like, touch my chest area.
I meant, like sort of an E.T. thing, where he was touching Elliot's in the movie, right, I'll be right here, Elliot. Remember that part?
Mike Matthews, just back the heck away from me, like, right now.
Okay, sorry. Wow. I don't want everyone to feel awkward. Do we all feel awkward here at the last place on earth? Yay, let's hear it for feeling awkward. No, I've been thinking a lot about, like, I took a trip to Yosemite with my second cousin who was visiting from Germany. She had never been. I had never been to Yosemite. So I was still married. My former wife and I took my second cousin to Yosemite, and I realized that that is a long, long, long drive. And I live in the Bay Area, which is supposed to be a lot closer to Yosemite than like other places. It took forever. And you get like to these gates that say, welcome to Yosemite, and you pay your $15 or whatever to get into the park. And then you're driving like another hour. And then there's all these people that drive recklessly because, like, they slam on their brakes as soon as they see the half dome, and they slam on their brakes as soon as they see a tree. It's crazy. You should stop on your brakes, stomp on them when you see a tree, but only if it has fallen across the road. Am I right, Floyd? Yeah, Mike, that's a good precaution to take. Always slam on your brakes really hard when you see a tree in the middle of the road or a rabbit. Oh, a rabbit? Yeah, if a rabbit is in the middle of the road staring right at you, don't run over it. Slam on your brakes. Is that right, John Deere? Well, actually, you should never really slam on your brakes if you're, being followed by a tailgater. These are all really important driving rules that you should write down right now. You're getting important driving rules from this independent podcaster, Mike Matthews. Yay, let's hear it for independent podcasters. And let's say boo to all the websites that are supposed to show you all the podcasts you can listen to, but they only show you the podcasts that actually pay money. That's not fair. No one ever finds out then about the podcasters that are poor and don't advertise.
Mike Matthews, I think you're wandering a little bit.
I think I am. I'm wandering through the forests for 40 days and 40 nights. Just watch out for the rabbits! And this interesting thing, Facebook. They're on a spending spree. Yes, according to Reuters, their big spending plans are facing a tough reception on Wall Street. They have been dazzled with 2 years of breakneck revenue growth, and they are struggling to win support for plans to pump billions of dollars into infrastructure and businesses ranging from virtual reality headsets to satellites. Their shares fell about 2% in after-hours trading today after the company beat Wall Street's fourth quarter revenue target and discussed aggressive 2015 spending plans. How much has the stock fallen since late October? 7.6%. Facebook said today that 2015 capital expenditures will range from $2.7 billion to $3.2 billion, a sharp increase from $1.83 billion last year. They slightly narrowed the range of its expected increase in 2015 operating expenses, but the projected level remains well above previous levels, and their staff grew 45% in 2014 through hiring and buying a string of companies. Ooh, and I've been seeing actually a lot of want ads for Facebook jobs lately here in the Bay Area. I've applied to all of them. Of course, I never hear from anybody because I am over 40. The hiring shows no signs of slowing, and I may not be qualified. The listings, more than 1,200 positions posted on Facebook's website earlier this month. The spending spree comes as Facebook faces intensifying competition from Twitter, Google, and a host of well-capitalized web startups such as Snapchat. Facebook has acquired a collection of popular products, including messaging services like WhatsApp. Of course, you heard all about they spent so much money on WhatsApp. And they bought the Instagram. By the way, I'm on Instagram there. Look up Mike's Daily Podcast. That's my name. And Facebook is also racing Google to build expensive satellites and drones to expand internet connectivity to remote regions of the world, which we've spoken about many times on this show. So what do you think about all of that? Email me, MIKEs-DAILY-PODCAST@gmail.com. We read your comments on the section emails from email. Also email me there if you'd like to be a guest on the show, or if you'd like to sponsor the show, or if you get kept up late at night because you're thinking of crazy things like the time you drove to Yosemite. You have these memories that haunt you, and there was a rabbit in the middle of the road staring at you with its big, dark, evil eyes. Don't hurt the bunny! I won't, Floyd. Don't worry. Email me, MIKEs-DAILY-PODCAST@gmail.com. And then also there's the website, MIKES-DAILY-PODCAST.com. Ooh, go there and look for the link to podcastawards.com, or just simply go to podcastawards.com and vote for Mike's Daily Podcast for the awards. We've never won an award because, well, we didn't even know they did have award shows. And probably because we could never win against the big names that pay lots of money as I mentioned earlier. But you can go to podcastawards.com and vote for us in the category Best Produced. That's the closest shot we got at winning. And then also look for the links to where to find us on iTunes, Facebook, Twitter, Tumblr, Yelp, Podomatic, Mixcloud, Spreaker, Stitcher, SoundCloud, YouTube. We're at all those places. Like the Facebook page, and when I post a new show, share it with your friends and more people find out about us that way. You can also comment on the show in iTunes, and if you do that, more people find out about us. And you can also buy whatever it is you're going to buy on Amazon through the Amazon link that we have at MIKEs-DAILY-PODCAST.com. You can also find all the past interviews that I've done, as well as the daily podcast picture and the blog, all there at MIKEs-DAILY-PODCAST.com.
Mike's Cassette Copy Hole.
It was on my birthday 12 years ago that I got to meet Blake Shelton. First thing about Blake that you notice is he's very, very, very tall. And then also he has an incredibly dry sense of humor, and he is really funny, and nothing makes him laugh unless you are the funniest person ever that ever existed. He will not laugh. He keeps a straight face. I have another part of the interview that I did with Blake that's now up at MIKEs-DAILY-PODCAST.com/cubbyhole. But this is another part of the interview in which we discuss Steve Irwin, who was still alive at the time. And there was also, well, I was so starstruck. I was stuttering, and I basically could not keep it together. But he had just come out with another song that ended up being a #1. His first song, incidentally, called Austin, that he released, went to #1. It was his first single, and it was his first #1, which like never ever happens in country music. In this interview, we also referenced Napster, which was really popular at the time. And he sounds in this interview like he's looking at me going, who is this geek? But without any further ado, the guy who did an amazing job on Saturday Night Live this past week with great skits like the Whispering Boot, which was such a funny parody of a country music video. Here is Blake Shelton. It's Blake Shelton, his new one called The Baby, and it's on, when is the album coming out?
February the 4th is the date we have now, and it's going to be called The Dreamer. Yes, please write that down and repeat it many, many times.
February 4th, The Dreamer.
Yes.
Good. Why The Dreamer?
It's actually a song that's on the album. It just sounded like myself, so I've always been a dreamer, so I figured it'd be a good title for the album. The name for the first album was really creative. It was called Blake Shelton. Which was exceptional, you know. It was just going out on
That's
on the
a good,
edge.
because there's that's also an expression used in Australia
Really?
that Steve Irwin uses when he gets bit by a snake.
Will you put it in context for me?
Sure. This is a beautiful snake. Oh, it just bit me. Blake Shelton.
Yeah. But you couldn't say that word over there on the radio because it's a bad word.
It's a bad word.
Right.
Here, it has no context.
Right.
Nobody cares.
Right.
But you call it The Dreamer, and you are a dreamer because you've... The dream of Nashville. I remember you're from Oklahoma originally, right?
Yes, sir.
And
You've done your homework. I'm impressed.
Who are you?
I'm Mark McGuinn. Thanks for having me.
Oh, we look alike, Mark.
Yeah.
And we both have the same initials.
Mm-hmm.
I get easily derailed. Stop doing that to me. I'm not a good interviewer.
I think you're
I like
incredible.
sarsaparilla. And
You like what?
Sarsaparilla.
Oh.
Would you like me to pour you some?
Please do.
It's good stuff. Okay, what I was going to ask you about was, okay, you were what's it called? Ada, Oklahoma.
That's it.
We call our town Ventura.
That would be where we are now.
Where we are here is Ventura. But and you grew up there, and you tried many times in Nashville, and then the Austin came out, and kaboom! And I got Blake so many requests for this song.
Really?
This is sort of a request show. So
Did you play it?
many times?
Okay.
I even played the acoustic version.
Really?
That y'all sent out. The record company sent us. It was great.
Thank you.
It was a nice. And so we'll play that right now.
Which one? The acoustic version or the regular album version?
Which do you prefer?
Both. No, I got to pick one. Play the album version.
Okay, we'll play the album version. I could superimpose them on top of each other.
Yeah, that'd be weird.
That would sound like what the snake tastes like. So,
right, which was crap.
So we won't do. We'll go with the.